One of the things that you always have to look at is using the right tool to solve a specific problem. You know, if you're trying to solve an inventory problem, you wouldn't go out to Home Depot and buy a hammer and saw. If you're trying to build a house, you might go to Home Depot and buy some hammers and saws and nails. But tools are an integral part of any business. You know, there are times when the typewriter or the slide rule were the tools that people use to solve business problems. And then as businesses evolve, so have tools. But there's one thing I want to introduce to you, and there has been something that has evolved over the years called a network. Now, I don't mean a telecommunications network, but there are certain things that gave companies or nations an advantage in the business world. And that was things like developing the highway network, or developing the shipping network, or developing a transportation network, or the electrical grid. These are basically tools that are used to solve business problems. And we'll talk more about the evolution of these tools as we go through this presentation. But remember, every project needs the right tool. And you all know that from your personal life as well as your business life. Now, Martin Tuchman, who the School of Management is named after, also saw a business problem. He saw a business problem in the area of shipping. And there were no standards. There were no way of taking things from one type of shipping to another type of shipping. So he standardized on the container freight industry. And he saw fit to apply the technology, thus enabling containers to be on a boat, on a truck, on a rail car, or being stored in a warehouse. And he standardized on those connection devices. In other words, Martin Tuchman applied the shipping container as a base tool to solve a business problem. So when we talk about tools, we're not always talking about, electronic tools or tools that fit in a tool bag or things that you might have some preconceived notion of what a tool is. And consequently, Mr. Tuchman saw a business advantage and solved the business problem with a very basic box. And in his world, that box was that tool. And in today's world, we have a laundry list of new tools that are evolving and are continuing to evolve that solve business problems. And these new tools today, some of them fit within our networks. And we'll talk about what a network means. We just talked about the railroad network or the shipping network. Well, now when we think about networks, we think about electronic networks. But we are solving business problems. And the business problems are different. They are things like facilitating global business, organizing and managing and optimizing supply chains, providing delivery of customer satisfaction, and facilitating employee collaboration. Now, the types of things that we're trying to solve today are: how do we make employees more productive? How do we reach new customers? How do we do business on a global basis? And some of the tools that are being applied to this come out of the digital world. And some of the tools provide, a tool kit, and they facilitate the connections and the connectivity and the collaboration and the communication across and around the world. Now, here at the Martin Tuchman School of Management, we talk about business with the power of STEM. And that's really our value proposition. It's our core competency. It's what gives us a competitive advantage. And basically, it's our promise. Now, what is a value proposition? Well, a value proposition is what differentiates us. It's what makes us relevant. It gives us a compelling argument to compete. And it also is enduring. It's not something that's going to come and go, like anything else changes every other year. But it's our promise to educate the NJIT community such that they can be successful in the enterprise economy. And we want to live those values and share the power. And that's what business with the power of STEM is all about.